Justice denied. The tragic death of Freddie Gray in Baltimore. Freddie Carlos Gray Jr. was born in Baltimore, Maryland in 1989. He grew up in Sandtown, Winchester, one of the city's most underprivileged neighborhoods. Poverty, unemployment, and poor housing shaped daily life there. Freddie and his siblings were raised by a mother who struggled with heroin addiction, and much of his childhood was marked by hardship. Still, friends and neighbors described Freddie as playful, kind-hearted, and resilient, a young man who smiled through struggles. On April 12, 2015, everything changed. That morning, Freddie Gray made eye contact with a group of Baltimore police officers in his neighborhood. For reasons that remain unclear, the officers began chasing him. Witnesses reported that Freddie ran instinctively, as many young black men in Baltimore had learned to do when police arrived. When officers caught him, they claimed Freddie had a small switchblade knife clipped to his pocket, which they said justified his arrest. But video captured by bystanders showed something far more disturbing. As police pinned Freddie to the ground, he screamed in pain, his voice raw with fear. Neighbors watching shouted that he needed help. By the time officers dragged him to a police van, Freddie's legs appeared limp. He was placed inside the van, handcuffed, shackled, but not strapped in with a seatbelt. During the 45-minute ride that followed, the van made several stops. At each stop, officers opened the doors but never gave him medical attention, despite his repeated cries for help. At some point during the ride, Freddie suffered a severe spinal cord injury. By the time the van reached the station, he was unresponsive. Freddie was rushed to the hospital, where doctors confirmed his spine had been nearly severed. He slipped into a coma and died a week later on April 19, 2015. He was just 25 years old. The city of Baltimore erupted in grief and anger. Protests began almost immediately, with thousands demanding answers. To many, Freddie's death symbolized decades of police abuse, corruption, and neglect in Baltimore's black communities. The phrase "Justice for Freddie Gray" appeared on signs, shirts, and social media. As people called out a system that had failed him, the state's attorney charged 6 officers in connection with Freddie's death, ranging from second-degree murder to reckless endangerment. For a moment, it felt like accountability might finally be possible, but one by one, the officers were acquitted or had charges dropped. None served time. For Freddie's family and for the people of Baltimore, this was a devastating blow. They had seen Freddie dragged into a police van alive, crying in pain, and carried out broken, only to be told no one was responsible. To them, the message was clear. The system valued police protection more than black lives. The unrest that followed became some of the most intense protests in recent U.S. history. Buildings burned, the National Guard was deployed, and the city imposed curfews. But beyond the clashes and headlines, the heart of the movement remained the same, a call for justice for a young man whose life was cut short. Freddie Gray's death remains one of the clearest examples of police misconduct and systemic injustice in America. His story echoes far beyond Baltimore, joining the tragic list of names, Michael Brown, Sandra Bland, Eric Garner, George Floyd, that fueled the fight against police brutality. Freddie was more than a headline. He was a son, a friend, and a human being who deserved dignity and care. Instead, he was denied both. His story is a painful reminder that justice delayed is justice denied, and until change comes, voices will continue to rise in his name.